Hey guys, welcome to Coifish, and today I am going to be reviewing and using with the swatch PATONS Astra Yarn. You can get this at Michael's or wherever you get your yarn. And I am using this demonstration in the color School Bus Yellow. That's the color I have today. I like it. And I am going to be giving you a rating on this yarn, and I'm going to be doing lots more yarn reviews using both a crochet hook and knitting needles. So it's going to be reviewing with both knitting needles and crocheting. I find when I'm looking at yarn reviews, I like to see both ends because I am a crocheter and a knitter. So when I'm trying to look for a good yarn and not just reading the comments in the Michael's section, I like to actually see demonstrations and actually see it visually. So that's what I'm here to do for you today because this is a great yarn and it is awesome. So this right here is a medium size 4 worsted weight yarn. That's what it is. And I don't know how many yards it has on it, but I have been using this for a bit of time, and it's held up. I'd say it's got a lot of yardage, and it's really great, really sturdy, and it definitely is not eroding. I don't usually tend to go for 100% acrylic yarns, but this one, it just happens to be great. So definitely go try it out. So here we go. I'm gonna get started, and first up I am going to be showing you while crocheting. So crocheting with this crochet hook is up first. Alright, so today I am just going to be starting with the slip knot, and I'm going to be working in the half double crochet stitch with my crochet hook. I'm only going to do a few rows because I don't want to take up too much time. So I'm going to begin by chaining, and I really like this yarn. I feel when I am crocheting, it kind of slips through my crochet hook, and with the acrylic fibers in it, it really goes nicely when I am doing this. So I just chained a few stitches there. So I like the way it kind of, like I said, slips through my crochet hook, and it's kind of sturdy. I mean, it definitely is spun. And as I said, I don't usually lean towards acrylic yarns, knowing that it can do some weird things. But yeah, I really like this one. I love the color choices that are in it. Especially this color. I love mustardy colors. I think it's a phase for young teenage girls, but I'm not sure. So I really like this. I like how it slides through easily, and it isn't too much of a hassle with my crochet hook. So I definitely do like this yarn with crocheting. I like the way it slips. I like the way it's kind of sturdy and it feels spun, not like a roving, but roving isn't even in the fiber contents and the contents of the yarn, so don't worry about that. But when I've done just one row with this School Bus Yellow PATONS Astra yarn, it's really stretchy and kind of squishy, and I find that often acrylic yarns are kind of squishy when you feel them crocheted or knitted. But yeah, I really like it. It's really nice and stretchy, but it also has some stability, and it's really nice. I really like it. So next we are going to move on to knitting. Okay, so next I am just going to be knitting with this PATONS Astra yarn. I'm just gonna cast on. I'm assuming it will kind of be similar to the crocheting, but knitting and crocheting are different. 2 needles compared to 1 needle, or 1 hook, I should say. But also I find that the knitting and crocheting textures are a lot different, whereas crocheting is a little more chunky within the rows, depending on the stitch you do. Whereas, and there's another cat. Whereas knitting, it's not so much. So I really like it. It's feeling good. I like it so far. with the knitting. And of course, this is completely not biased review. I do not do any of my yarn reviews like that. So yeah, I am just going to knit one row of just knitting and purling so I can get the feel of both stitches. But I like it. And again, I really like how sturdy it is. It's definitely a durable yarn. I could see if you're doing knitting or crocheting. I could see if you're doing certain projects like maybe knitting socks. This would be a great yarn for that. Even hats, I would say, but scarves, all sorts of durable things that are for everyday usage in the colder months. I definitely would recommend this yarn for that because it feels like it would work really well for that. I have not done such items with this knitted or crocheted, but it definitely does work. I like the feeling of it. It's really nice, and the yeah, I really like the way this is knitting up, and it crocheted well. And I'm just finishing this row so I can get a real good look at it. So I just did some 1x1 rib stitch there, and I really like it. Of course, 1x1 rib stitch is a more thick stitch, and I like how squishy it is. Again, of course, it's the same yarn, so it definitely is going to be squishy, but I really like it. I just really like this yarn, so yeah. Yeah, I really like this, so I definitely recommend it. And that was me giving a review on PATONS Astra Yarn. I really liked it. It was a really great yarn. It would definitely work for dishcloths, although you always want to go for a 100% cotton yarn, but if you were to use an alternative, I definitely recommend it for that. And also the everyday durable projects that we use every single day in the colder months, such as scarves, hats, cowls, socks, all sorts of things. This would definitely work. It's the right size for a beginner of yarn. It is, like I said, a worsted weight size 4 yarn. It really works well. I like the way it knits up and crochets up. Of course, we had that squishy texture with the crocheted version when I did the half double crochets, and then with the knitted version with my knitting needles, it was just as nice with the 1x1 rib stitch. I definitely would recommend it. I think it would work with all stitches for crocheting and knitting, and I definitely recommend it to the beginner or even the advanced learner, because it's a really great yarn, and I definitely recommend it. So every single yarn review I'm going to do, I'm going to be giving it a rating for knitting and crocheting, because as a crocheter and a knitter, I need to kind of know what's going on, what kind of yarn it is, and what you would review, because I honestly, as both, I will get one or the other, or I won't get any rating at all. So this is really important. So for crocheting, since we started with that, I would probably give this a 4.5 out of 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. 4.5 star. It is almost at 5. The only thing is, I would probably say, is, you know, I've found that there are a few little knots in the work. So there are a few little knots in between the yarn, but I don't know why. But of course this can be a hazard for certain projects and baby projects. But of course, instead of like using that part and saying blah 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 about the little knots, is definitely just cutting your yarn and rejoining it, and then just cutting that little knotted part, because you don't really need it, and there are definitely ways to get around your problems. So yeah, that's the only reason why. It's really spun really well. There are no parts that are inconsistent, and it's really nice. I like the way it slides when I'm crocheting, and stays in my fingers while I am knitting, and it definitely works for those everyday projects. So thank you so much for watching. This was me reviewing the Patons Astra yarn. It was really great being able to do this video for you. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up so that I do know I should do more of this content, because this is my first video doing a yarn review, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. So that was me knitting and crocheting with Patons Astra yarn in the color School Bus Yellow. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Toodles. Bye.